You are watching a Fact TV presentation of the town of Swanzey.
beginning with the roll call. If I get it right, I get my list here. Scott Self, yeah, I got that one right. I'm here. Michael York.
Here.
Richard Lane.
Here.
Brandon Self.
Here.
Victoria Ames.
Here.
Mark Scalera.
Here.
Jane Johnson, alternate. Not here. Stacy Goodell, alternate. Not here. Charlie Harbeck, alternate.
Here.
Right there. And we have a full board, so we do not need to seat anyone. And selectmen.
Selectmen's rep.
Yeah, I'm getting to that one. I was just saying that Charlie was going to be seated. And selectmen's rep, Mark Lavelle is here. Okay, so we have a full board here. And the agenda for this evening are the approval of the minutes of December 4th, 2025. We'll have our regional impact vote, because there's some stuff on the agenda tonight. Public hearings, we have Base Hill Road rezone proposal. That's a petition zoning amendment. Amendment number 6, rezone proposal. And then we're going to have E, which is Planning Board 25-019. That's a subdivision and boundary line adjustment application. Fieldstone Land Consultants have submitted a 3-lot subdivision and boundary line adjustment application on behalf of Paul Thomas. The property is located at tax map 220, lots 171 and 173 in the business district. That was originally item E, but we moved it to C because the applicant requested it. No problem. So then we have item C, which is Planning Board 25-017, site plan review application. Fieldstone Land Consultants have submitted a site plan review application on behalf of Paul Thomas to expand the gravel parking lot at Twinkle Town. Property is located at tax map 220, lot 191, and is in the business district. And after that, we have Planning Board 25-018, and that's a site plan review application. Fieldstone Land Consultants have submitted a site plan review application on behalf of Paul Thomas for an accessory storage structure measuring 5,000 square feet. Property is located at tax map 220, lots 171 and 173 in the business district. And after that, we have discussions and other business, which is approval of the schedule for the planning board schedule, that is, for 2026, and anything else that may come up before the board. Bringing it back to the top, we have the approval of the December 4th, 2025 minutes.
So moved.
A motion. Motion by Michael York to approve those minutes, seconded by Brandon. Is there any further discussion, changes, or anything like that? Hearing none, then all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Regional impact. Is there anything on tonight's agenda that requires us to notify the surrounding towns?
I say yes. I move that there is.
And what one would that be?
That would be Base Hill Road rezone proposal, which borders with Keene.
That's a petition zoning amendment.
Right.
So that's going on the warrant regardless of
Right, it is,
whether or not
Yeah.
they're notified. Okay. Are you making that a motion?
Yes.
Okay, a motion by Michael York that the Base Hill Road rezone proposal falls under regional impact. Is there a second on that?
Second.
Seconded by Richard. Is there any further discussion? I don't think it does. I think we ought to just go ahead with the hearing, but that's up to the rest of the board there. It's going on regardless of whether we notify Keene or not. Anything Keene says in a meeting that we would have them there, it's still going on
That's
exactly
correct.
as
It
it's
is.
written onto the
It
warrant
is.
article.
Just a formality for me.
Okay, so any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? I'm opposed.
Opposed.
Okay, that's
Or two.
Richard, you're aye, right? Yeah, two in favor, correct, Richard and Michael in favor,
2 in favor, Richard,
and Michael, you're,
and the rest against.
the rest opposed, yeah. So the motion fails. And we'll go ahead, so that regional impact there, we're done with that. Brings us up to the public hearings, which is item A, which is Base Hill Road rezone proposal. That's a petition zoning amendment coming up. And I will open the public hearing, and I will read the amendment as it's written. Whereas Base Hill Road is largely residential lots with single-family homes, and whereas the Keene end of Base Hill Road is zoned as rural, low-density, single-family residence or conservation, and whereas Base Hill Road is a Class 5 road not wide enough to handle a commercial business volume of traffic and is already overburdened by trucks and business vehicles using it for a shortcut, making it unsafe for residents to walk and bike. And whereas the complete streets map in the master plan identifies Base Hill Road as a local collector and all other local collector roads in town are residential and/or rural roads such as Warmack Road and Matthews Road. And whereas in the master plan, economic development, objective 2, action 3 is review current zoning to ensure adequate land area is zoned for commercial and industrial use and in appropriate locations. And whereas lots on Base Hill Road are backed in Swanzey by Yale Forest on one side and a large significant wetland on the other, which the recent wetlands evaluation by Moosewood Ecological listed in the top 10% of Swanzey's wetlands for flood storage and wildlife habitat, which creates a critical wildlife crossing situation. And whereas the entire east side and half the west side of Base Hill Road lies atop an aquifer, therefore the zoning map of the town of Swanzey dated 9/1/47 as amended is to be further amended as follows. Lots fronting on Base Hill Road shall be included as all in the residence district with the following exceptions. Lots south of New Run Brook to Route 10, currently in commercial industrial district, shall remain in that district. Tax map 212, lots 22 and 23, and map 203, lots 4, 30, and 29. Map 203, lots 14, 20, 22, and 26 shall remain in the business district. Map 203, lots 8, 13, and 20-1 shall be included in the rural agricultural district. Map 203, lot 25, small section to be included in residence district that is equal to the abutting lots on the east side of Base Hill Road, leaving the rest of MHS lot to commercial industrial district, as detailed in list below with map included of the changes. And that is it. So, would you like to speak to this? Thank you. Just identify yourself for the record, please.
I'm Sherry Howard,
Thank you.
one of the lead residents for the Swanzey abutters on Base Hill Road. And we've spoken to most of the regular residents there. And we had some points that we'd brought up to reiterate why it should be rezoned to mostly residential versus business and commercial, and leaving the people that have been in there for businesses as they are and can operate the way they are, as they have been doing for generations. They do a pretty good job of being respectful for traveling on the road as it is. But if adding more commercial or businesses there, it's going to be very, very scary, more so, and damaging the rural area of the road. Our primary goal is to stop further commercial development that would harm the road, the environment, and the people here on Swanzey and downstream into Keene, which we call on the town to implement stronger zoning regulations there. Our closest neighbor, Keene, and surrounding towns have justifications for wetland setbacks for years in New Hampshire, and some have adopted the recommended state and federal restrictions to protect wetlands. Swanzey has just started doing that, and it's important to protect the water resources we have. This has and makes us vulnerable still to exploitation by commercial interests. We'd like to make sure that the area stays the way it is, and you can't repair the damage once it's there. It's the way we see it. So the businesses and their limitations on Base Hill Road, the three long-time established businesses there is Haley's Construction Site, the APS Storage, and Arlington Paving, which are grandfathered in to the zoning regulations for business as far as I was aware of, what I've studied. These businesses have been operating for years without any major restrictions, to do what they've been doing and operating the way they've been doing, which is understandable. However, should these businesses seek to expand or make significant changes, they would need to go towards you guys for planning approval anyway, I would assume.
Zoning Board of Adjustment first.
Right.
Because they'd be non-conforming, they have to try and get a variance for
Right,
that,
okay.
which is tough to do
So they would have to go through you anyway.
afterwards.
And then the study that the Southwest Regional Planning Commission has reviewed the current situation back in 2023, raised some serious concerns about traffic volume, regional impact, and the need for preserving the area's rural integrity, which they reported on September 8th of 2023, which underscored that any further changes must be critically examined for the potential to harm the road and surrounding the residential communities, which include 1 mile of Keene end of the road. The critical environment there is a concern, not just any rural road. It is a corridor surrounded by ecological sensitive areas. Behind the homes on Besa Road lie a unique combination of Yale Forest and the New Run Brook on the east side, and a vital wetland area which serves as a floodplain and a wildlife habitat. This area is part of a top 10% of Swansea's most critical wetlands and an aquifer that need to be protected. The valuable natural resources from overdeveloping cannot be overstated. The Mooseweed Ecological Survey clearly highlighted the environmental importance of the land, and it serves as a call to action. We must act now to prevent further degradation and regional impact of those areas. We do have widespread community support and local impact. Our concerns are shared with many. The Keene side of Base Hill Road, which is 1 mile, when we first petitioned them to know what was going on, there was 75% of the residents had signed a petition that they did not want large-scale commercial-sized projects on their road, recognizing the potential damage to the road, the environment, overall quality of life. On the Swanzey side, there are 9 single-family homes on our stretch of the road, and 3 properties are already zoned for a business use. This road is not zoned for 40 commercial businesses like they had planned. A business, but not 40 businesses, was what we were trying to justify last time they put that proposal through for that 7-acre field. While these single businesses have operated for decades, any expansion, like you said, would need to go through the zoning board, and the residents and the natural environment needs to be protected. The road is uniquely different from any other area. 1 mile of it, you got to consider, is Keene, and their whole end of their road is residential single-family homes, or the complexes that are just residential, like the trailer park and or Farmstead Commons. The Swanzey end is only a half a mile and should be zoned for it to be cohesive to the rest of the neighboring town. The dangerous truck traffic and its threat to the residents and children and wildlife is a serious threat that we see on a daily basis. The road designed for light residential traffic, being Class 5 road, is now a shortcut for heavy traffic trucks and commercial vehicles. Despite the no trucks through on both ends, the Keene and the Swanzey end, it doesn't get enforced. Signs on both ends have been up for years. These vehicles continue to use the road, often speeding and ignoring traffic laws. The road has no shoulder. The narrowness of the street makes it dangerous for pedestrians and cyclists and animals. Even a kid riding a bike, for example, is pretty risky, especially if a truck's barreling down. There is no shoulder for this person or persons to get out of the way, especially if there's another vehicle coming, and nowhere to go. Just like your neighborhoods, this is where families live, children play, and neighbors interact. With the current level of truck traffic, makes it unsafe for these everyday activities. We can't wait till there's a tragic accident to happen before the action to take place. The safety of the wildlife, the children, elderly, and all the residents is at immediate risk of the daily basics, on a daily basis, excuse me. We must act that now to prevent further commercial encroachment that will only make the situation worse. To call to prioritize safety and the environment, the officials voting on this issue must prioritize the safety of the residents that have been there for the long duration, the kids, and protecting our environment over the short term, over commercial interests. While we understand the economic development is important for the Swanzey areas, it should never come at the expense of the safety and well-being of the residents and the long-term health of our environment. The consequences of ignoring these concerns could be severe, not only for our community, but for the future of Swanzey as a whole. As a group, we had consulted 2 different lawyers on this being supposedly spot zoning or not conforming to the road. At this mostly being residential, not businesses, we have cited several times, obviously in the zoning proposal that we had the last couple of years, significant public health, safety, and general welfare justifications for zoning the changes here, and is not a clear case of spot zoning by any means. Zoning now is not cohesive to the majority of the rest of the road being Keene. And as there's been some Supreme Court cases on that matter as well. So thank you very much. We're looking forward to trying to preserve the rural charm and environmental integrity of Besa Road to be more cohesive with our neighboring Keene zoning. We'd like to ensure that the area remains safe, vibrant, and beautiful and rural place for generations that come past us.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Yep.
And we do understand your concerns there, and we get why you're doing this. But it is still, in my opinion anyways, I don't know about the rest of the board, it is spot zoning, and it's also unfair to that 7-acre parcel that you're putting in rural ag. It's unfair to that property owner that when if it's put in that way, it's going to restrict what he can do with that property considerably.
Well, I think that's the risk that you take when you buy out of state and you're not a local person that's buying property.
Not necessarily. He bought a property that was owned business. I mean,
Yep.
he knew it was owned business, and now you're trying to zone it rural ag, which takes away a lot of his property rights. That's one
Right,
thing.
and that's why it's now for sale.
Yeah, but that's one of our positions about that. It's not
I
fair.
understand it, yeah, but that's, the people of the community, if they're not being heard, that's what we're planning to do, is we take action to try to help counteract that, to preserve the area. And the fact that it was on somebody's radar back in 1996, and it was rural agricultural then, and that got fought for 2 years, to not have a storage unit put in that field, that tells you a lot, I think. So it needs to be preserved. Being an emergency floodplain, and it does get wet back there, there's got to be a lot of changes for even anybody financially to work on that lot, to even build anything there, because of how important it is to that area and the floodplain and the wetlands.
Yep, we get it.
Thanks.
Thanks. So, board members, you have any questions, or
Do we have anybody else who wants to speak to the?
the board member first, and then the members of the public second? So, board members have anything to comment on that? You do, Victoria?
I do, yeah. I really want to thank you for all the work that you put into this, and I find your arguments very well reasoned and persuasive. The ones that particularly resonate with me have to do with the importance of protecting the wetlands in this area, and you didn't, and public health, safety, and welfare. You didn't specifically say this, but I feel like the decision to zone this area was made in 1947, which was 78 years ago, and times have changed. I think the way we went about zoning back in those days was to it's my impression, was to take a broad brush approach to where we expected certain corridors to be used for business purposes. And this one, during those 78 years, has not developed into a business use. So, with the exception of the 3 very well-established businesses that seem to be supportive of this proposed change. So, I'm in support of what is proposed here, for those reasons.
Okay. Anybody else on the board? Anybody from the public, like, do you
Yeah.
have something to say?
Yeah, I'll just say, you know, there's something, I mean, this is a unique situation. The fact that there are primarily residents, with the exception of those businesses, on this road. You know, it's a feel-good to say, hey, you know, I now live in a residential area as opposed to how it's currently zoned. So I give you kudos for, you know, bringing this forward. Is it spot zoning? You know, it's spot zoning only because it has to be, right? It is primarily residents. There are wooded lots and stuff, and I see you do want to make it rural agriculture. Scott's point about the one field, only because, you know, there was an applicant at one time, you know, raises that a little bit in my mind. Victoria's point, I walked that piece of land. You know, it was going to be built right up against the wetlands. The boundary of the property is the wetland boundary. And that was not a feel-good for me. So I would say I'm more in favor of this than not, okay? I can't say I'm pushed all the way, but I'm more in favor than not. So I do like the fact that you're bringing this forward.
Any other members? Richard?
I understand what their petition is for, and I sympathize with the fact that it's going to probably butt up against a wetland, although with the projected changes in our wetland articles, it may help, you know, restrict what could actually go in there. Unfortunately, our decision isn't going to be based on really on how we feel, but more into what's on the books and how we have to interpret it. I would be concerned about anything going in there, excuse me, right now, and with what was projected or what was applied to us to go in there for storage, the runoffs, et cetera, I would be concerned about what it might do to the wetland. But again, until things have changed, we really don't have any means to deny it.
But you just can't punish the other businesses just because something might run into the land on something that might be built on a piece of property over there. You know, you're punishing these other businesses for expansion part of it there as well, you know, when it's put into a non-conforming use, if they're in that zone. But
you're not punishing, from what I understand, aren't they asking that the existing businesses be
oh yeah,
left
you're right.
alone?
Yep. These 3 right here.
Would except for the field.
Yep. Except for the field that's put it onto there. Yep. And that little spot right there, whatever that is. I don't know what that is.
And
That was not an access way into 25 or something? Is that what that
It might be. I'm not sure.
And the other thing we have to be concerned with is the fact that that's what Scott was talking about. That was the person bought that with the intent of doing something there with business. Then you're going to take his land, and residential land or rural agricultural land is not worth as much as commercial land. So you're taking money out of that landowner's pocket, is what you're doing.
Anybody else on the board? Members of the public? Got several of them here. Let's see. Your hand went up first back there.
I'll be quick.
Yeah,
voice can go
that's
out?
fine, yeah.
I can speak loud enough for
Yeah,
everyone to hear.
right over there, that's a good idea, so the rest of them can hear.
Well, we just had a hard time hearing.
Yeah, that's good. Good suggestion.
So I own Rob John LLC, which runs BDM Sweeper and Arlington Paving. So I own, on this map here, I own number 1, and I own number 22. I understand what the residents of the area are talking about, but I have a couple concerns with the changes. One being it's going to devalue both of those pieces of property that I own. I've already talked to a couple people that if I was to sell, say, 22, and that's got residential up through there, that, you know, they're going to know eventually there's going to be more restrictions to what they can do on that road. The other thing that I have is if someone decides they want to buy on Base Hill Road on that end, there's businesses that are, you know, over halfway up, 3/4 of the way up, and I have always felt that there should be a clear path to a major roadway that is either in the same zone or a higher zone that they could travel through. I just think if someone was to say buy a house there, they should know what's going on, you know, on that street.
Okay,
That's,
yeah, good points, thank you. But just, you know, just so that you know that this is going on the warrant regardless of what happens tonight, unless it's a wording change or something like that, that doesn't change the meaning, but we're just, you know, getting all your opinions out here in the open. And who else was it? You're next.
I support what Sherry's trying to do on the road, as you all know, but I just had a clarifying question for you, Sherry. Has this, it sounds like things have, part of this has maybe changed since last year, or is this the exact same warrant article that was last year? Because I thought, maybe I was under the wrong impression, but just clarify that, I guess it's 7 acres where the field is that all-purpose storage wanted to build on, that would be rezoned. That would be part of what's rezoned.
Yeah, that's one of them that will be rezoned, back to rural agriculture like it used to be.
Okay, all right. I wasn't sure about that. I was under the impression that last year that wasn't going to be rezoned. Okay,
Protect the property values of those homeowners.
right.
That abut that property, because once you put in a commercial site there, you're devaluing all those property owners' property.
Yeah, it's literally in somebody's
So
backyard.
it goes both ways on that land. You know, we're not just taking that for granted, but we've been there, and we live it every day. And somebody coming out of state, buying up land, thinking that they can build whatever they want there without any safeguards, a commercial-sized structure, a half mile down, a class 5 road, and not to consider that Keene has a whole mile of it on that road. 40, if you put in a commercial-sized structure there, you're devaluing people's properties for residents that have been there.
Okay, we get your concerns.
Right. All right, I just wanted to be clear that this
Yeah.
was the same thing that was last year. Okay. All right, thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Deborah Sprague. I have lived at 42 Base Hill Road for 50 years plus. And I have talked to you in the past, telling you how dangerous that road is. And it's just getting worse and worse. We have humongous trucks coming through real early in the morning and right after dusk. We had a double car one come up within the last few months. You know darn well they're going over to Fairfields. between the marketplace and then the market basket, it is just so unsafe. And I cannot walk to my neighbor's house. I have to go through my backyard.
Will the rezoning stop that, though? You
So
know.
dangerous. And originally, the first thing when this guy started all of this and showed his pictures and so on, he was looking for storage units. And then when he was told that that was not going to happen, that's when he changed it to business.
But we aren't in that type of a discussion right now. You know, there's nothing there now at all. And whether or not that proposal
The
moves forward,
wetland-
you can voice your opinion at the planning board meeting when that comes before the board. I know you're concerned about it. You've mentioned it before. We've got a long meeting tonight.
Okay.
So just bring up
All
something
I'm
different.
saying is, the first time I mentioned it to one of our police officers at the voting, and he found out that it was going to be toilets and heat and hot water and everything else, he said people would be living in it. And
Okay.
anybody I say it to has the same
Well, that's,
concern.
again, that's just hearsay. You don't know that for a fact and has nothing really to do with rezoning there.
Hey, I
Thank
wish you lived on the road.
Well, you know, the rezoning still will not stop that traffic. Yes, ma'am.
Jeanette Goki. I also live on Base Hill Road. And I know that the zoning board don't have feelings, but like, if you have 2 acres of land and it's zoned commercial, and then your neighbor is commercial, there's only about 3 or 4 houses that are commercial, somebody buys the property right next to you and puts in a bakery or something. I mean, what kind of living do you have left?
I understand that concern. Yeah, we see that a lot here, and I know it. It is a problem. Yes, sir. Thank you.
I just want to say one thing. I listen to all these issues. I get it. They're there now. They exist now. I just don't feel the answer is rezoning. I don't know if rezoning is going to help these people. I don't know if that's the answer. I just see this problem is here now. It's here, but I don't see this rezoning, all this is going to solve your problem. I don't. I think you guys live on a tough street. I agree that we're more popular, that street is more popular for traffic. I get it. But I think it is what it is. It happened. I don't think rezoning is going to solve this problem. I don't see that street growing into businesses. I don't see businesses being attracted to that road anymore. I don't. I don't see, if I was going to open a business, I ain't going to pick Base Hill Road, believe me. If I'm going to open a restaurant or anything, I'm just concerned with, we're going through something that we're going to make a decision here of spot zoning, and it's not going to solve nothing. So that's all I want to add to it. I sympathize with all of yous. I have a home on that road. I get it. It's going to affect me. But my concern isn't about value. I get it. It's hard. It's terrible. The road has to be upgraded is what really has to happen. Somehow, something has to fix it. But this is not our answer. I just believe this isn't the answer to solve this problem.
And just to clarify it, you're giving your testimony as a property owner?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I do it just for me?
Go ahead. You can,
Okay.
if you can
Just
talk.
a rebuttal. The people that were going to buy the house next door to my house was going to put in a bagel shop. And then that deal fell through because they found out something that wasn't just kosher. So there are commercial places that are looking.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
You haven't spoken yet.
From what I've heard, my understanding is this proposal is preventative, not curative. We're talking about, we won't solve your problem. I don't think that's the point. My understanding from what Sherry said is that this is to prevent further deterioration in that area.
It's to prevent the development of one piece of property, actually, I think, is what it is.
whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm David Jones.
Yes. Kara, you want to?
Yeah, basically, I hear what Jimmy has to say, and like I said, what Dave is saying is that it's more preventative. We don't want an increase in more and more traffic from businesses moving into that area. And also, who would put a business a half mile down a major road or a mile down? It doesn't make sense that it got rezoned this way in the first place. It should have stayed all residential. And then, yeah, grandfather in basically the businesses that have been there for decades. And I don't see how they would operate any differently than they do now. So.
Yep, okay. Anyone else? Board members, before we close the public hearing? Then the public hearing is closed. So, we've heard all the arguments, and, you know, if all the residences want to stay residences, then they just don't sell, and it stays exactly as it is right now. But I still don't think it's fair to that property owner down there or others that it get rezoned like that. Yeah, it may stay like that forever. Nobody may build way down, you know, the end of that road there. Who knows? But it's still spot zoning to me.
And I agree, it is spot zoning, and spot zoning in New Hampshire is illegal according to Bossy versus Portsmouth in 67. So, you ready for a motion?
Ready for a motion? The motion would be whether to endorse it or not.
I will make a motion that we do not recommend this zoning change.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Brandon. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of not recommending the article, say aye.
Aye.
That's one. Raise your hand. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And all those opposed? Raise your hand. Two opposed. 2 opposed. Yep. Mark and Victoria are opposed. So it'll go on, still go on the ballot. It'll just have underneath it a non-endorsement by the planning board, that the planning board does not endorse it or recommend it. Thank you. Brings us to item number 2.
That's the subdivision. We're doing the subdivision first.
The subdivisions first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's clean, we can get that
So
out of the way.
we're going to amendment number 6. That's a rezone proposal for properties over on Route 32. And this would be amendment number 6 for the ballot in 2026. Get my spot there. Gotta read it. So, amendment number 6. I will open up the public hearing on that, and I will read the amendment number 6, which is, are you in favor of the adoption of amendment number 6 as proposed by the planning board to amend the Swanzey zoning map as follows? Rezone the following parcels by moving them to the residence district. Map 210, lots 12, 13, and 14. Map 219, lots 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 46, 50, 51, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, and 63. Map 220, lots 56, 57, 64, 118, 121, 127, and 133. So what that is doing is that is taking a parcel of land between 2 residential zones that is now rural ag and turning it into a residential zone. And part of it actually is in the business and part of it is in the industrial park district. So, I think we've heard the proposal on this and we all know what it is, correct? Anybody want to talk about it? Again, it's pretty straightforward. They're taking the block of land there, as we know. They would like to put that into residence. Is there anybody from the public that would like to speak to it? Yes, sir.
What's the,
Could you just identify your name for the record, please?
Matthew Carr.
Yep.
What's the target zone between Safford Drive and Sycamore Hill? Why is it every one of those lots up that section of 32 that are being changed to residence?
Target zone meaning what? What do you mean by that?
It's every lot from Safford Drive to Sycamore Hill, including
They want to
two of
rezone.
the Swanzey owned lots that are on Marcy Hill as well.
So, I may have misunderstood you. They want to rezone it to residential. Is that what
Correct.
you're asking?
Every lot, yeah.
Yeah.
From Safford to Sycamore, and a couple on Marcy.
And
What's the idea behind that?
the idea behind that would be development for residential use, because it's rural ag right now. So the basic idea would be so that you could have smaller lot sizes, 1 acre for that, in that area, if you were to put a development up there.
But there's, map 219, lot 58, that's a landlocked piece. That is now zoned ag. Why would we want to change that to residential to build a house on a lot you can't get to?
Because in order to develop it, they'd have to put roads up in there. For most of these lots, they'd have to put roads up in there, just like they did Marcy Hill. And that would give it the access.
On lot 21961, I'm on Sycamore. The road's already there. I've been there for 17 years. Town approved the building lot. It's zoned rural ag on that lot. It's a 1.4 acre piece. You were gonna get another house on that 1.4 acre piece? Probably not.
You couldn't now without a variance because it's in the rural ag. Adam?
Sorry, just to add, so you're on 61.
Yep.
This would make your lot a conforming lot. Right now, it's what we call a non-conforming lot, which means it's under 3 acres and less than 225 feet of frontage. So this proposal would make your lot a conforming lot. There are some benefits that come with that. If you want to come down to town hall, and I can chat about those benefits. Ultimately, it doesn't really mean much for you. You can keep using your lot the way you normally use it, but you would be, quote, conforming because residence zone, you would meet both the acreage and the frontage requirements.
I was resident zone 17 years ago.
Well, you're rural ag, at least from what I can see. So this would just make your lot a conforming lot. Again, it doesn't really mean much for you.
What does that do as far as changing the rules as far as your lot goes?
So if you wanted to add on to your property, it's a bit easier if you have a conforming lot. But if you want to come down to town hall, happy to walk you through the process and how that looks. But right now, you are considered a non-conforming lot, which just means that you don't meet 3 acres or 225 feet of frontage.
Yeah, I don't believe that. I just built a shop up there 2 years ago, and it was conforming. That's how I got the shop in.
Okay.
So now it's not conforming, so we got to change it to residence and make it conforming.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not aware of the specifics on your shop, but yeah, your lot would be conforming to the residence districts, whereas it's not conforming to the rural ag district, which is where you're in.
So when you have ag lots, there's stuff that you can do on that lot that you can't do on a residential lot.
You can do less on them. And it's a larger lot. You're required to have 3 acres in the rural ag, whereas in the residence is 1 acre.
Yep.
You're required to have more road frontage in a rural ag. And let's see, in a residential district, you can do more on those lots than you can on rural ag lots, as far as uses we're talking about. Mark, you had something? Oh, you didn't? Oh, okay. So was your question answered or not necessarily? You look confused.
Yeah, not necessarily.
No. Well, how big is your lot right now? You said 1.4?
1.4. Yep.
Okay, and the whole lot is in the rural agricultural district?
Correct.
So that would be considered what Adam just said, a non-conforming lot. It doesn't meet the requirements of that zone, even though you have a building on it and you're doing fine there anyways, but it's just considered non-conforming. So if you were to expand, or like he had said, expand or something like that, you'd have to go to the zoning board of adjustment for a variance to expand. If it is changed to residential and you wanted to expand there, you'd have over the 1 acre, 1.4 acres, so you wouldn't have to go to the ZBA for anything there. Those are the two differences mainly. Otherwise, it's status quo, and it doesn't mean that you have to do anything with the lot. It doesn't mean you have to sell it or do do anything at all. It'd just be a uses change, allowable uses change. So if it goes through.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Richard?
I just want to go back to when this was presented to us initially. Are we still, Fieldstone still representing only the dark shaded area on this?
Oh, I don't think so. I think that dark shaded area is part of the business zone, is it? I'm not sure.
Initially, that's when Chad presented this to us.
That was his?
This dark shaded area was what was concerned.
Okay.
So Fieldstone is representing lot 12, lot 41, 42, and 46. And let me read the maps too. So Fieldstone is representing map 210, lot 12, map 219, lot 41, map 219, lot 42, map 219, lot 46. The rest was proposed by the town. If that's not right, John.
That's correct. John Newman, Fieldstone Land Consultants. So our client was John Burke on that and owns those lots, one being in the industrial district and the other two being in, as you're saying, the dark hatching in the business district. And then he has one lot that's in the rural ag district, which is the 219 lot 46.
Okay.
So that was the initial petition, and then it was added for, why not make that entire thing residence across, so.
The rest of my question is, and this was brought up in our last meeting, have the other landowners, apparently one was notified, but have they been consulted about this plan, about rezoning these properties?
Not,
that's a question
not
for
from
him.
our office.
Yeah, they were notified, so they were legally notified, just like the gentleman was. Everybody was notified and given the opportunity to submit their comments.
Okay.
Where's the list of them?
I would imagine you can get it from Adam.
Everyone that's listed on this map, they were all notified. Per the legal requirements in the right to know.
It's like a certified letter.
Yep,
Like,
everyone,
yeah.
yep, all the property owners.
Okay.
Do we not normally post that?
We do for site plan. I don't know if we normally do it for a zoning change.
What do you mean post?
He's talking about a list of abutters that we usually do on a site plan review.
Well, it's usually a requirement to submit from an applicant, but the town is the one who organizes this. And so you have the list of abutters on the map, everybody listed on the map there in map 219.
But the thing is that the town is suggesting this.
Part of it, yeah.
Right, and we legally notified all of those lots.
Was it just those lots or also the abutters? I see a lot of properties on Marcy Hill Road.
The RSAs require us to notice all of the lots affected,
Okay.
so only the lots affected.
And if it goes through, it makes them all the same, because they're already residential on both sides.
Yeah, my sale's all residential.
Yeah, you just pull it all the way through. Richard, you all set? Or you still want those names, or what are you getting at there?
See the guy down at the end, he'll give you the names.
They were all legally notified, that's all I can say. And they
Again, I'm just
Okay.
not comfortable
All
making
right.
a decision on something that, you know.
Well, actually, the voters are going to make a decision on it.
Well,
We aren't.
I'm not sure
We're
how
going
else to get them in the door.
zone.
So,
Yeah.
so how else should I be notifying these people? Because
No, you notified them, and that's that. You know, you sent them the letters, you're good. Okay, they chose to come and chose not to come.
I would also like to point out that this directly supports one of the master plan goals to proactively rezone suitable areas to residence districts. So that is from the town's perspective.
Okay, that will
I'd
be
like
duly
to
noted.
speak to that, though, because although that is a goal, and it's a laudable goal, and something that I think we all believe in, we're also doing something else here that we haven't really explicitly talked about, okay? And that is that we're taking more of our industrial park, and we're converting that into housing. We're taking more of our business district and converting that into housing. And we're also deciding, by virtue of this, that it's a good idea for us to concentrate more dense housing in this part of town. Now, those might be good decisions, they might be bad decisions, but I kind of feel like to have sort of nice-looking lines on a zoning map, which I think this would definitely, you know, make sense in terms of where the different zones sit. It is a decision, you know, that we, as a planning board, in terms of the planning process, I think it behooves us to, like, officially say that, yeah, we think it's a good idea to not use more of this land that we work so hard to put into our industrial park, to not use that for industry. Likewise, to take out of business where we have water and sewer, where we, you know, we have said all along that, you know, that's really where we want to concentrate our business, because we want a stronger business presence for our tax base. But instead, we're recommending that we convert that to housing. And then third, that we're creating a situation where we're going to have the potential for a lot of house lots in this part of town. And have we talked about, you know, can all the facilities of the town support that increase of development? So, you know, I just think we need to consider these questions, okay? Rather than saying, gee, it's a good time to, you know, change a zoning map. As a board, I think that's, you know, these are important planning considerations for us. Now, maybe everybody's totally fine with it, but some of them seem to contradict some of the other things that we've been trying to do over the years, so.
For the town's piece, I can't comment on Fieldstone's piece, but for the town's piece, so while this does directly support the master plan, it's also not dense development. Acre lots are not, it's not dense at all. So you still have very, very widely spaced potential lots. So it's not dense development. It is housing, but it's not dense. And from what I understand, our sewer and water in this part of town can't handle that development, especially for the long period of time that this would take to get built out. Because this is a decade at least for all of this to get built out.
Yeah, I guess I'm just wondering how other planning board members, I mean, we've kind of covered some of that territory, but, you know.
Well, my opinion, on the industrial park part of it there, that piece there is probably never going to be developed industrial right there. I wouldn't say anyways. Because of the topography of the land. Well, they've got residential up
It'd be
here
very
anyways.
expensive to put
but it's-
manufacturing
yeah,
in that area.
They've got, in the other industrial park, of course, they do have some development going on up there, but that part
Perhaps
probably
we
wouldn't.
delineated a part of the industrial park that wasn't appropriate to have been
Well,
delineated that
again,
way.
when we draw the lines, we just, you know, we draw the lines, not necessarily around things that it can't develop. It'd look like the redistricting map of Texas there that they've been talking about. You're gonna be all over the place. So when we draw the lines for districts, we usually try and do them straight lines. But that doesn't mean that that piece is probably gonna get developed. It probably is not. And as far as business though goes, it maybe could be developed business up there, but the only reason it's business is because the airport's on the other side. And nothing's going in over there probably because the Keene owns that. That's gonna be it. And there are houses on our side of it, on this side of it, but they're in the business zone.
So you're saying that those parts are kind of a relic of a general zoning vision?
Kind of are. It was
before.
business all the ways down to that line. It was business all the ways down to that line before it was industrial park, only because the airport's there. On both sides of the road, we had business there, business zone. So yeah, it's residential, but it's still was zone business, but probably not gonna be business.
At
But,
what point, I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no, go ahead.
At what point would we address density problem?
We do it at subdivision. If someone wanted to go in there, they'd have to present a subdivision to the planning board because roads will have to be built, lots will have to be divided up. That's when it comes to the planning board for density and for strains on the town's infrastructure, sewer and water, for instance, and things like that. It's looked at the planning board at that level. And that's the only level the planning board looks at it because afterwards it's individual building permits. So we only look at the subdivision part of it. So, but that's when we'd address that stuff, if it were to happen. Just a sec. Anybody else on the board? No? Sherry?
So was part of this rural ag before?
That center part that you see, the lightest color?
Yep.
That's rural ag.
Okay, I'm just wondering why nobody asked the Conservation Commission about this. This is the first I've ever heard of it.
I don't know. Don't know why. But
It seems like it would be a good thing to, if you're going from a more of a rural zone to a zone that's more likely to get developed, and you're shooting for development in that area, it might be a good thing to just run by the Conservation Commission.
Well, I think one of your members probably heard about it at this meeting when it was presented a month or so ago. Isn't that you? So, you know, he's your representative on our board,
Right.
as he is a representative of selectmen on our board. So that's how the communication
Well,
is
I
supposed
mean,
to
usually
go.
things come before us in sort of an official manner through Adam.
Yeah, that's site plan stuff, yeah, this is
I
different.
guess I didn't think to send it to you guys, I apologize.
I've never seen anything like this before, so maybe this is the first time that something like this has come up for you, but.
Yeah, it is. I didn't think about it, honestly. Yeah, I guess this is where the rep comes in, where I dropped the ball and don't send it to the Concom.
And again, it's zoning, it's not site plan. So, you know, wetlands concerns about zoning, you're changing the zone, but still nothing is going in there. When your wetlands concerns come up is when something goes in there and is developed.
Oh, right.
That's when you address the wetlands concerns.
Yes, but
Or
we have
whatever
more of
else
the
you
wetlands
have in there.
concerns.
Whatever other concerns you may have, it's developed, it's done then. Now it's just changing the possible uses, not changing actual use.
Right, no, I understand that, but I think, you know, since we're about to get a whole new, for instance, open space plan for the town, then we're gonna have these much more, you know, updated, intricate maps that are hopefully gonna be really useful, so that if somebody came to us and said, hey, what do you think about, you know, this area for residential, or what do you think about this area for commercial industrial, we're able to comment on it a little bit better, to say, well, maybe you should shift that this way or that way, depending on what our maps are showing. We've got, you know, an aquifer here, or we've got critical wildlife habitat here that you might not want to push development into. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Anybody else?
I'll just say, I just happen to be on the Conservation Committee and never really thought of myself as the rep.
Well, you better start thinking of yourself as a rep, then, because this stuff comes up on this board. And you better start communicating to your people. But regardless, if it's a bad idea, I'm sure that you'll say it's a bad idea, you know, when it comes up for vote or something. But do you think it's a bad idea?
This is the first time I've seen it, so I have no idea if it's a bad idea.
Yeah, you do. You have an idea. You've been looking at it there. What do you think?
What do I think right now?
Right now.
I don't know. I mean, I think I would want to look at some of the maps to see what's there on that property. Right now, off the top of my head, I think it might be okay, because I don't see that there's wetlands or anything on there, but I don't know.
Okay.
I can't really answer
To
that.
cover that really fast, it's not in any conservation land as far as our overlay show. It's not in any wetlands, floodplains. It seems to be a prime area, but again, yeah, you guys.
I mean, I've walked parts of that, so I imagine it's just kind of a nice, gently sloping pine woods in my mind. That's as far as I can say, because I haven't looked at any maps, I don't know.
Well, I lived up on Marcy Hill for years, and I hunted all that area before those houses up there. I guarantee you there's not a wetland up there.
Yeah, I think they're all down right next to the road in the area we actually
Exactly.
wanted to develop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Then I will close the public hearing. So the question before us is the planning board going to vote to have this proposal, and it's not a petition this time, this proposal to rezone that land go on to the 2026 warrant. Discussion. I think it's fine.
I think it's good.
Good idea. And again, you know, it's one thing to rezone and it's another thing to subdivide. You know, we see it in the subdivision part, and that's way more detailed than we're seeing it now. So that's a safeguard that, you know, we're looking at, that we generally do. And I guess a motion would be in order. Anybody want to make it?
I make a motion. Okay, I'll second it. I don't make all the motions today.
Yeah, okay. So Brandon makes the motion to put amendment number 6 onto the 2026 warrant, and seconded by Michael York. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? So it's going on the warrant, and the voters will decide. Brings us up to item E, actually, for the C, and that is Planning Board number 25-019. This is a subdivision and boundary line adjustment application, and that's Fieldstone Land Consultants have submitted a 3-lot subdivision on boundary line adjustment application on behalf of Paul Thomas. The property is located at tax map 220, lots 171 and 173 in the business district. So, first of all, we have to see if the application is complete. And if it's complete enough to go to public hearing, we can do so. I think it's the back part.
It's, page 56, I believe.
Okay, 55, 56.
That's there, anyway.
Yep, that's their application. And
Yeah,
if you would just identify yourself for the record and go over the checklist with us, the submission checklist.
Yes, thank you. John Newman, Fieldstone Land Consultants, here on behalf of our client, who is the landowner, Paul Thomas. And to walk down the checklist, we have proposed, item number 1, proposed subdivision name and title. Down here, we have a lot line adjustment and subdivision plan. Name and address of the owner. So we have the address, owner, Paul F. Thomas, who is the prepared for and land of 3 Aeropress Road, Swanzey, New Hampshire. Scale of 1 inch equals 30, written in the particular graphic. So we have written scale and the graphic scale in this lower corner. The north arrow, we have it in this right-hand corner. Locus plan, upper right-hand corner. Name, license, number, and seal of surveyor. So we have Mike Plouffe from our office in the lower right-hand corner. Boundary survey, including bearings, distances, and location of permanent markers. So they're shown here, bearings, distances on each lot line, and then markers. So we have iron pins, granite bounds, and corner pins here. Location and profiles and elevations of existing water, sewer mains, culverts, drains, any proposed connections or alternate means of providing water supply and disposal of sewage. So we have, these are private septic and well, so we have the septic systems, leach field approximately shown, and on each lot, so those are shown here, and down here. Location of property lines, including entire individual lot areas and frontage of the public, along the public right-of-way. So both for the existing lot shown, and then our proposed lots, where we have 3 lots, we have the areas shown, where it's 1.482 acres, 6.084 acres, and 2.578 acres is the proposed lots. Tax map and lot number according to the town of Swanzey numbering system. So 2 are existing lot numbers, 1 is the proposed lot number, and that's following the town's numbering system for tax map and lot. Existing and proposed topographic contour boundaries at 5-foot intervals or less. So these lines are shown here. They're a dashed line showing contours, so it's a very flat area. So these are 2-foot contours. You see them labeled. Location of groundwater. So we have both where there is surface water, and then we've done some test pits to date. But actual groundwater as elevation on test pits are not on this plan. We're not proposing any buildings that requires a septic system or additional. There's existing system out there.
But there are no perk tests on there, right? That's your next item, line item down there. I don't
Right,
see any perk tests.
so we've done some, we have not submitted percolation and test pit results. So we have done some of the on-ground, but we weren't proposing anything that would utilize a septic.
But wouldn't they still have to be on there for state subdivision approval?
So when this goes for state subdivision, this one is under a 5-acre lot.
Yep.
Those would have to be added at that time to go to state subdivision.
What I'm getting at is it should be on, I mean, now, the planning board should be seeing that, I would think now, with your test pits for your perk test, as well as a 4,000 square foot area, isn't it 4,000 for the proposed, or where a leach field could fit? Do you have that room on that piece?
We do not. We have room on the
You
piece.
do, yeah.
There's a contiguous area. This is well over 4,000 on the smallest lot. This one has a septic existing, and this is well over having enough room for a 4,000.
But you have done some perk tests on there, you said?
Yes.
Right, okay, continue.
Soil mapping, types, slopes, and boundaries, so that's shown here with a legend up in the corner here. And deed restrictions, so there's outlines, there are no restrictions, but anything that goes in reference plans, if there was, listed here. Open space to be preserved, so we call out the contiguous areas and area of the lots as shown here. Existing buildings and other man-made structures to remain. So these are showing all the existing structures along these two lots, very small area here and here. Existing and proposed streets with class names and right-of-way widths. So the existing roads being Route 12 and Antioch Highway, Marcy Hill on the south, and Arrowcrest Drive on the north. Final road profiles and cross-sections, so we're not proposing a road, so that we've marked that as NA. All drainage erosion control plans approved by the CCD, if applicable. We don't have them as part of the subdivision sheet because we're not proposing any roads or boundaries. On our site plans, we have erosion control measures included in our site plan applications that will follow. State subdivision septic approval. So on the one house, it was determined actually today based on what the town had on file. The existing home is a 3-bedroom home.
But that's already existing,
So
right?
that's already existing,
That's
we're not
already there.
changing any of that.
The only thing
So
you'd
it's a-
have to put on would be for that new lot there.
It would just be the new lot, which is, yeah, well over 4,000 feet. State highway municipal access permits as applicable. There's no curb cuts onto a state highway proposed, so there's no state highway permit.
Okay, thank you. So, we have the application in front of us. Do we feel it's complete enough to go to public hearing? Now, what we're talking about the test pits for a perk test on that's that new lot, that's gonna be 220-171. And we're talking about showing an area of 4,000 square feet that a leach field could go into. They would need that, pending any approval on this board, they would need that to submit to the state anyway. So I don't see it doesn't hold us up for looking at it.
Make it a condition.
Yeah, it can be a condition, right. I'm just saying it shouldn't be, I don't think the application should be incomplete, because that's not there, because it's gotta go up anyway.
Okay, so that's one lot, the yellow one is a lot, and this is just the wet.
Victoria there. Yeah, the wetlands.
This is part of it. We need 4,000 square feet, and there's 32 in this lot, so we have to show the state there's 4,000.
We're just voting on the subdivision, right?
Yeah, so,
We're voting on the application whether it's complete or not.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we're voting on right now. We get into the subdivision afterwards.
I'll make a motion that the application is complete.
So motion by Mark that the application is complete,
I'll second.
seconded by Mark. Is there-
Excuse me, pending the
no,
No, no,
that'll be on
pending.
the.
This is just,
Approval. This is just, we're going, it's an application approval. We got enough to go forward.
Your application isn't complete.
it's complete enough to go to public hearing. It doesn't have to have every single little I dotted on there to go to public hearing on any of our site plans or the subdivisions. As long as we have enough to go to a public hearing, and during the public hearing, if we approve or disapprove, whichever, if we approve it, we can approve with conditions. And knowing that if this has to have state subdivision approval, and in order to get that, they have to have those things on that plat.
So at that point, we make
So
a condition.
that would be a condition that they'd have to, but they'd have to anyways, otherwise the state would turn them down.
Yeah,
Okay, so, let me see.
I'll
Yeah.
second it.
No, I think wasn't that a motion by Mark and a seconded by Mark? Yep.
Okay, yeah, Mark and Mark.
Is there any further discussion? Oh, that's on the application being complete. Then all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, so it's complete enough to go to public hearing. Then we will go to public hearing, and I will open up the public hearing. And you can present your
Thank you.
subdivision.
Again, John Noonan, Fieldstone Land Consultants here on behalf of Paul Thomas, the applicant and owner. So we're proposing a 3-lot subdivision. As part of that subdivision is a boundary line adjustment as well. So currently there is the existing lot line that crosses here. These are the proposed lots where we have 22-171, 220-173-1 is in this pink outline here. And then the remainder here, which is called as revised, 220-173, that is an existing lot. So we're looking to remove the existing lot line that runs along parallel to Marcy Hill. The boundary line adjustment would then to be to adjust the lot line going this way. This would provide this lot to be more conforming than it is now. Currently, it doesn't meet the contiguous dry land because it's along this frontage, it's all wetland, and there's only this little piece right in this corner that would be the dry land on that lot. So by creating a rectangular lot here on the corner, it makes the existing business and this area more conforming by providing much more contiguous area. So we end up with 32,155 square feet of contiguous dry land. That's kind of right in this area. That's where the shed business is now. So we would have to show that 4,000 square foot when we submit to the state within that 32,000 square foot area. And then the other lot here would be the proposed lot, and then this one is adjusted where it would have ended here, is now going down to Marcy Hill all the way to here. So it's a modification, boundary line adjustment between these two existing lots and a proposed new lot here. So the proposed lot is 1.482 acres in size, 54,568 square feet, and that has 54,963 square feet of contiguous dry land. So it makes this business and area much more conforming lot than it is now. This lot, it basically just extends over through here where they have access currently off of Marcy Hill is used for this area and storage area that's out here. So it provides both curb cuts have access through this lot. They own their frontage where their existing curb cuts are now. So that is more conforming here. And
Okay.
that's about it on the three lot
About
subdivision.
sews it up. So any questions from the board? So that new lot that you're creating, that is gonna be more conforming than it is now. No, not that one up there. That one's fine. It's this one down here, which isn't a full acre of contiguous land for that site. I know it, and it makes sense to make it more conforming than it is now. It's still non-conforming, and it was non-conforming before. I don't have issue with that, but I just want to bring it up from the board that it does not meet our subdivision regulations for that zone as to being 1 acre of contiguous land in there.
It would be possible to obtain enough contiguous land if the lot line that currently goes, almost divides the entire tract, were moved to in that direction a little bit, right?
No, it
No,
wouldn't.
this
It's
is
not
all
contiguous. It would not. It has to be connected to that little blurb of
It would have to be connected
property
to
up there.
this to be contiguous.
It has to be contiguous 1 acre.
We also have
land.
dry piece down here, but
Yeah.
it's not
Oh, all the
contiguous.
this is the only dry area, you're saying? Is
Yeah,
this-
yeah,
Okay,
that's
I'm
what
reading
that
it
is.
backwards.
Okay, yeah, that's
Got
the only
it.
dry area.
Got it,
Yeah.
okay.
So the soils, it says, are not so good on part of that, but again, that's up to you and your perk tests and your configuration as to whether you can fit the 4,000 square foot on there. Again, my take on it is that it's a good move to make that more conforming, even though it doesn't fit our regulations. How about the rest of the board?
I don't have an issue with this. It's
No?
pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Mark? You too. Victoria, you're still studying?
I'm
I'll
just-
skip you for a minute there.
Yeah, skip me. What I'm wondering is, you've explored all possible ways to get it up to that full 1 acre.
You
Yeah,
can't.
unfortunately, this is an island here.
Yeah.
Well, if Sherry would let them fill it in, that'd be fine.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think it's better to approve this, because to make it more conforming is a good thing.
It is, yep, I think. Richard?
Okay.
Okay?
I don't have a problem.
No problem with it. Charlie, I'm gonna call you, you're not seated, but, when you're an alternate on the board, I'll still call on some of the alternates when they're seated, but you won't enter into discussion when we're deliberating. So
No,
that's
I
a
think
difference
it's a
there.
good idea.
Yep. But I just call in just to get your opinion on that. Okay. So, I think we have a consensus there that even though it doesn't fit our site plan regulations to have that 1 acre there, it's a better idea to have it this large than not. So if there's any motion to approve this site plan, it would have to include the reasons why we're going against our own regulations by a little bit. So is there any other questions or discussion from Mr. Newman? If not, I will, anybody from the public, sorry. Anybody from the public want to speak? So then I will close the public hearing. So what we're doing here, as we can see, we're making this lot line go away. That's the lot line adjustment part of it. That just disappears. And they're bringing it down the other way and making this a better lot.
And
So,
what's happening is this parcel is being purchased, right? This used to belong to the town of Swanzey. Isn't that true?
I don't know.
No, this portion here along Marcy Hill is already owned.
Oh, it is
by
on there,
this.
okay.
Yeah, so that's why between here and here, it's a boundary line adjustment.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, it's already owned by the applicant.
Okay. Anybody have anything else to add? If not, a motion would be in order.
I'll make the motion to approve it because it's going to make it a more conforming lot.
Yep.
Even though it's against our rules.
And with the condition.
And with the condition of
The perk test.
the perk test
And a 4,000
shown.
square foot area
Right.
be shown on the plat.
Correct.
Where a septic could go.
A less non-conforming lot.
Yeah, less non-conforming. I
Less
think that's what he said.
conforming,
Or less non-conforming, yeah. The other way around. You want to
Which
second
one
that?
with double negatives, Mark?
Mark, you second that, because you're the one who brought,
I
you
did.
corrected him about it, so you got a second.
I
Okay?
did. I
Is that a
second
second? Okay, that's a second. Is there any further discussion?
Can you just repeat with the condition of a perk test and?
And a shown of where a 4,000 square foot area for a leach field could be on the property. And again, they have to put that in anyways for state subdivision approval, but we'll want it on our copy. Leach field, yeah. Any further discussion? Then all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see here. That brings us to item C. And item C and D are site plan review applications. And,
Sorry, before we get into that,
yep,
noting what was put on our, stuff by the town plan, but the Conservation Commission does not have an opportunity to review either one of these. And they also fall within
yeah, we'll get into that for sure.
but should we, if we accept the application, then the clock starts.
We're gonna get into that. Yep.
Okay, should
So-
we not?
Let me just talk to the representative there. So these two proposals, both of them, as you probably know, they are proposed and were admitted to the town after a change in zoning had been presented to the planning board. And that change in zoning is the wetlands change in zoning. I'm sure you're aware of that, correct?
Yes.
So normally what we would do is if the plat is submitted within that time period, after the change has been submitted, then you would have to show on the plat the restrictions of the new proposed change, even though it hasn't changed yet. It has to be for the new proposed change that things could work. However, this is a different situation because the proposed zoning that affects you, or your client, I'm sorry, is, it comes with a relief by way of conditional use permits, which is a different story there. So if the planning board were to approve your plat the way they are now, and the town of Swanzey did not vote in the new regulations, then you're all set. If they did vote in the new regulations, then you can come again to the planning board for a hearing, notices and all that type of stuff under 676, and apply for a conditional use permit for both of those because of the distance between the wetland. Now, that doesn't mean that you're gonna get the conditional use permit, but that does mean that you have an opportunity to state your case. And if you don't get the permit, then you have to come back, start all over again, come back with a updated site plan for both of those, as we're talking about there. So we can continue with both of these public hearings. We can accept the application as complete and all that. And as Richard was talking about, starts the clock. And you can go that way with the submission, providing that the planning board does or does not approve them or not. But the choice is up to you, whether you want to continue or whether you want to wait until the town votes on the new zoning.
Understood. I appreciate you explaining it. We had discussed this before coming to the meeting tonight. What we'd like to do, because we know that the Conservation Commission has not reviewed it, and we obviously want to have them review it, but we would like to review the application just for completeness, go through the checklist, have the application reviewed and voted on for completeness, and continue for the next meeting for moving for presentation, and if there's any item that comes up on the January 6th Conservation Commission, we can address that before the meeting right after.
I would do the same. You've already paid the money for the application, so you got nothing to lose there, right?
Yeah, and there's also not an established conditional use permit application as
Not
of
yet.
yet, so that also handcuffs us where we can't do that right now. So we'd rather go through the checklist, open up, and continue on the public hearing to the next.
Then we'll do that, thank you. So let's see, we're gonna start on the planning board, 25-017, that's a site plan review application. Fieldstone Land Consultants have submitted a site plan review application on behalf of Paul Thomas to expand the gravel parking lot at Twinkle Town. The property is located at tax map 220, lot 191 in the business district. So we're gonna be looking at this one right here, and we'll be going through your checklist for... We'll be going, 26, thank you. Going through your checklist for the completeness of the application.
Thank you. Again, for the record, John Noonan, Fieldstone Land Consultants. This is going to be a site plan checklist versus the last one that was a subdivision checklist.
Yep.
Name and address of owner, lower right-hand corner, Paul F. Thomas, his address again. Tax map and lot number, also on the title block here, 220, lot 191. North arrow written, bar scale, so our north arrow is on the site plans here for the existing conditions. We have a written and graphic scale, so it's written here, graphic scale, name and address of the plat preparers of Fieldstone Land Consultants, name and address of plat preparers on the lower right-hand corner, vicinity sketch in the upper right-hand corner, names and addresses of all abutting landowners, so those are shown on these lots here, also included in the abutters list that's handed in. Physical features and uses of land within 200 feet of the site. So basically we have the roadway on each side within 200 feet. We don't have other structures that fall within the map area, but our existing conditions show the other pieces owned to the south. Perimeter boundary lines and the lot area in square feet and acres. So that is shown here. We have square feet, acres and square feet here, and also on the existing conditions. The shape, size, height, location, and use of existing structures on site. So we have, and those that are proposed, so there's no proposed structures. We have the existing house here. So this is the Twinkle Town building. So we have ice cream stand shown, house, walkways, and other features on the site. The location, name, and widths of any existing and proposed roads on the property. So there are no roads on the property, but we are bounded by Arrowcrest Drive and Monadnock Highway, New Hampshire Route 12. And let's see, identification, public access. So public access is obviously still onto those two streets. Everything is off of Arrowcrest Drive. Identification and access to the site, public streets, site distances from the access points, curb cuts, and proposed changes, if any. So there are no proposed changes to existing streets. Location and number of parking and loading spaces. So we are showing the proposed loading spaces being 10 and 10 on the other side as proposed.
Can I stop you for a second?
Yes.
Where are the existing parking spaces? I'm not
So-
seeing those shown.
There are no formal parking spaces. They park currently on the gravel here along Arrowcrest Drive. And then there's underneath where we're expanding this back parking lot is also just gravel that's parking here.
Okay, so
there's
the
no
prior
formal-
site plan never delineated where the actual parking spaces were?
Or
Okay.
number of,
Okay.
yes. So on our plan, we're calling out formal numbers based on our layout of a 9x18 parking space.
Number 14.
We have landscaping plan, so we have no change and no proposed landscaping. Location, type, and nature of all existing and proposed lighting. So we are proposing 2 pole-mounted lights. Those will be LED full cutoff lights. location, type, and nature of existing proposed lighting. So those proposed lights are shown here. And then natural features such as water bodies, ledge, outcropping, wetlands, etc. So we have the wetlands outlined in blue here. And then we have, let's see, existing and proposed grades and topographic contours at 5-foot intervals. So contours here that are existing are the dashed ones, and then proposed are the solid ones that come across. So those are shown in spot grades for elevation. The size and accurate location of all existing and proposed water mains, culverts, fire hydrants, or fire ponds. So we have it's basically a private well here. There is no fire ponds or the hydrants at the location. Surface means of providing water, so the water supply is the private well, no change to that. Surface drainage pattern, so we show the contours and which way it drains, coming across the back parking lot where the area of proposed improvements is. Copy and certification of licensed septic designer that the existing system is sufficient. So we put not applicable here. We show because there's no change to the building or use. The front septic system is out in the front here. And location of existing and proposed on-site well showing a 75-foot radius. So the well, that's pointed out for water supplies here. 75-foot well radius is called out here. Okay, and soil data from Cheshire County Soil Survey. So we have again, the line shown and our soils down here. Location of any existing or proposed easements, deed restrictions, and/or covenants. We've done deed research on the back, so any notes there, but there are no deed restrictions. And then architectural plans, we put no, it's not applicable. We are not proposing any architectural features. The existing building remains unchanged.
And where did you say that north arrow was?
We have
up in the locus, right?
Up in the locus, and then also on our plan for the existing site.
Perfect. Well, does the application look complete?
It does. I'll move that the application is complete.
Motion by Michael that the application is complete and ready to go forward to public hearing.
Second.
Seconded by Mark. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, ready for public hearing. And let's open the public hearing. Public hearing is officially open. Would you like to give a presentation?
I will do a brief presentation just to go over the plan.
Yep.
And then we are asking for it to be continued to the next meeting.
Yep.
So in the existing Twinkle Town site here, almost everything comes in off of Aerocrest Drive, and as mentioned, they're parking along the Aerocrest Drive gravels that are here. There's gravel parking that's, grandfathered in. It is not an official parking lot along here. And then there's an existing gravel lot out the back. So there's batting cages that are to the rear, so that parking lot comes up to the rear. This plan is to build out and expand that gravel parking lot, square it off to fit more cars in the rear and make it more of a formalized parking lot. So we're proposing 20 parking spots in the rear. 2 pole-mounted lights to provide light, and then infiltration trenches along this lower edge. Everything pitches at 1% grade down to the infiltration trench on the lower end. And that's basically it. And we are matching, a 22-foot drive aisle and then 24-foot wide between the parking spaces. Parking spaces being laid out by 9 by 18. And then there's no change to the front, the use. And I think we have some comments that we would address for the next meeting. Whatever comments come up for Conservation Commission, obviously. And then we have some staff comments on, calling out what type of light fixture these are, that they are LED full cutoff, their height, and we'll put a pole detail on. There was comments on landscaping, so potentially needing trees to meet the parking lot requirement for trees. So it's 1 tree per every 30 feet of a parking lot edge if it was towards a public way. We did not propose any landscaping because the parking lot does not face a public way. And we have these trees all along here, along this edge that are to remain. So instead of planting trees, we're leaving all the existing trees along this edge anyway. That would shield anything going to an abutter's lot. And then, you know, if we had to do trees, it would be 3 trees, because this is 90 feet long. So we said there's clearly more than 3 trees within this length of existing trees. So that was why we asked for a waiver on the landscaping plan. So,
All right,
that's pretty much where we stand on.
let's address those trees right now. Let's get a consensus, because he's right, it does not face, well, it sort of faces Route 12, but that's a long ways over there.
Right, there are trees up in this
Yeah.
area that break it up
Yeah.
and the features of.
So to see whether, they have existing trees on the property, and we know that, obviously, and we're gonna make them plant some more. What do you say?
No.
No? Richard?
I'm not sure.
Not sure.
No.
No, I'm a no. Mark?
I don't see a need for them.
Victoria?
My issue is, I would like to see this site, okay? Because you can't, without going on their land, you can't just do, I tried to do a drive-by, and I couldn't get my eyeballs to go back around behind the building. So I'd like to do a site visit. And after I do a site visit, then I'll know, because I'll be able to understand how this fits on the land. And I would also like to ask that we do a site visit of the other proposal.
The one coming up?
Yeah, because
Okay.
that's even
We'll
more
have to address those
confusing to me.
separately.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, could we plan on that in this amount of time that we have? And the Conservation Commission might be interested in also joining us on that. So I'd like to defer decisions on things like trees until we have a chance to actually look at the site.
Mark, trees? No. Nope, okay. So we have a consensus, we haven't had a motion on it, so we
Thank you.
didn't decide anything. We're just doing consensus as a board to give those guys some idea of what they're gonna come back in front of us with their, yes?
A couple staff comments, if we have a second.
Yep.
The one primary comment, you've addressed most of them. The one is that there has to be one van accessible ADA space per ADA guidelines. I don't know how you provide that on a gravel parking lot. I'm sure you guys have done it before, or you know somebody who's done that before, but there has to be one van accessible ADA space. So what are your thoughts on providing that in a gravel parking lot? And how can that be done?
So this lot, grade-wise, meets ADA compliance. I don't think that's the issue. Putting it out back here, I don't think anyone that would be handicapped or have a disability would be utilizing the batting cages that are here, or then going from here all the way to playing mini golf. I think this is too remote for those uses, and I don't foresee someone with that. I would anticipate anyone that would be utilizing ADA space that would likely be going to the existing area for the ice cream shop and probably likely driving right up next to that.
Yeah. It just has to be officialized. So however you guys want to do that. And then also, to go along with that, you have to have some walkways between that parking space to the ice cream stand. Because I imagine that's probably where any ADA accessible people would go. But ADA accessible walkways from that parking space to the main seating area.
So he potentially would show that
They might
ADA
already
space out here
Yeah.
closest to it, because of that would then be, typically you have to have your ADA space has to be the closest to the use, which is ultimately over here. Back here, I think would be too remote.
He does need a
Unless they were. Okay.
Most uses over here, but that
I've
means
got
you still.
questions about parking too.
Yes. Then you can put one in.
So these new spaces, is the intention to eliminate the parking that has historically happened in front of the ice cream stand?
It's in addition to.
So you don't have
It's
to
an expansion.
retrain us to go back and around? Because I think everybody's going to want to continue to park there, right? And as
Sure,
well as
I think,
that.
most people will continue to park, especially for the
Okay.
ice cream.
So if that's the case, I'm wondering about how you arrive at the number of spaces, and it's actually a couple of thoughts. If people continue to park in front, there's kind of a way that they do, the way you line your cars up. So why wouldn't you show those spaces in front of the building and ask that to be part of the site plan?
Yeah, we could do an approximate, layout for the existing and just
Yeah.
add that as an approximate
And
number.
so that would be some number of parking spaces, and then you have these additional spaces back here, which leads me to my question. How many spaces do you need? Because it would be a shame to build many more than you actually need.
Well, the business has been there, and I'm not sure if the applicant wants to jump in. I mean, he knows he needs more spaces
Sure.
than what he has now, so we're
Yeah.
trying to maximize and expand out back. They're already parking out back, and that's not enough.
And so, the other thing, I mean, I'm a fan, right, you know, the ice cream is good. The other place where people park sometimes, isn't it across the street at your other property? So, do you not want that to continue?
Actually, on a 1980 site plan, it shows us as additional parking on that back in 1980.
This rear lot is the additional parking?
Where we're proposing a new parking. Actually, in 1981, it shows that as additional parking. You can bring the site plan. It's kind of
But I'm just
hands-on.
wondering about practices, because it's hard to retrain us to do new things, right? So, if we're gonna wanna continue to park in front, and then we'll just now know that we can also go in the rear, right?
Yeah, people park there now, and it's mostly gravel, there's a little bit of grass there.
But so the point of this is to get the parking off Aerocrest Drive? Is that the reason that you're doing this?
Yeah, just to make a little bit more room, so yes, and all parks in the world.
Anyway, I think we should show those spaces.
Is there currently a signage to the ice cream, in front of the ice cream area for ADA parking?
No, there's not a handicap designated spot shown on.
Perhaps we should do that. If you're trying to, if you're not gonna do it on this new parking space, do that in the front, that way it reserves that area.
Yeah, we have to show one, so that's what I was saying. It's likely we try to put it over by the ice cream shop, because that would be the closest to the use
Well,
of
that's what I'm
someone
saying.
with a disability.
Are you saying,
Our whole parking lot is handicap accessible.
pardon? Are you saying that you don't need a handicap by your batting cages?
Instead of putting it in this parking lot, we'd probably put it where it would be closest to the use of where they're likely going.
Well, I might want to go use the batting cages, and I'm 100% disabled vet. And I can use them.
But are they required to have two? If they're required to have two, are they required to have, one, that's what I thought. So, where would you rather?
Well, I can't eat ice cream.
Where would, you can, yes. They're required to have one, so, as long as they put one in
That
there.
probably is the
Yeah,
better
so
place.
it'll,
Yeah, I think
when
it
we show add-on what fits for the existing parking spots, it could trigger it might put it over that two limit.
Well,
It might need
actually-
two, in which case we could put one there and one over
They're actually changing my mind a little bit here. That is the better place for the ice cream place. For the ADA. That's the better place. for
here,
it.
or,
At the ice cream place.
yeah.
26 spaces with the cutoff, so you provide 26 rewards to.
Yeah, so I would assume we're getting over that limit when we lay out these existing ones. I would assume we would be, in which case we could do one here and one to the rear.
Anybody else?
John, these spots will not be marked, they're just sized.
It's just, right. It's for sizing how big we made the lot, was to make sure that it fit a standard 9x18 as the regulation requires.
Sherry, you have any comments?
No,
Nope.
I'd just be interested in going on any kind of site visit you all set up.
Yep. Okay. So, any more questions from the public on this? If not, a motion to continue the public hearing to our next meeting, which would be January 8th.
So moved.
Made by Michael, seconded by Richard. Yep, seconded by Richard. Is there any further discussion?
Do we need to fit a site visit in that?
We'll do that in a
Would
minute.
we continue to a site visit? Or
We can do that afterwards, Victoria.
It would be, if we do have a site visit, she's right though, if we do have a site visit, it's actually a continuance of the public hearing.
Right.
So if we have a site visit before that, then we can,
On
we
the
still,
same thing
we
before.
still need to continue it to a public hearing.
Right.
The question is whether we continue it to the January 8th or the one after that, depending on the site visit. You know, if we can have the site visit before the January 8th, then we can continue it to the January 8th, which we probably should do. I don't know, Bob. What's our next one after that?
On or before the second one.
Yeah, it'd be January 22nd if we couldn't get it in on the 8th. So, let's stick with that. Let's continue this, because it has to be continued at a public meeting and to name the designated place for the next public hearing. So let's stick with your motion for the 8th.
Right.
And you seconded it, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's do that motion. All those in favor? All right, any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? So you're continued on this one till the 8th. So now we're talking about a site visit. And can we get down there before the 8th for a site visit? We probably can.
If this helps your decision, there are no other applications on the 8th.
No other
The deadline was today at 1 p.m., so these two site plans, if both are continued until the 8th, will be the only two on the agenda.
So you'd have to do the site visit about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, because it still gets pretty dark.
Whenever you guys want, I'm just letting you know there won't be anybody here.
But I'm just saying, if they want to do it on the 8th first, then you're gonna have to do it at 3 in the afternoon if everybody's gonna be able to see what they're gonna see, because by 4 o'clock, it's pretty dark.
Would that work for everyone on the 8th? Or prior
That's
to
why I
that?
bring it up.
Or before that? We just have to pick a date, I guess, and
Yeah.
think about it.
It's better for me to do it, I gotta feed livestock, right? Sorry, but
So do I.
if we could do it before,
I think it'd be better all around if we did it before, because it gives you longer than a couple hours just to think about
yeah,
it. So how about a week before that?
that would be January 1st.
Would it? Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. Would
Yeah,
it be
that'd be
New Year's
January
party?
1st,
So probably not
The
that.
area that you're looking at isn't that large.
No.
But there's the other side too.
Pardon me?
I'd like to see the other tract as well, the second application.
Yeah, but there again.
It's all right
it's
together.
not
Right
that
next to
large
it,
an
yeah. It's
area
all right together.
To walk, or, half an hour and you're out of there.
Well, let's schedule one prior to the 8th. just so that we- Pardon me?
Can I propose the 6th?
I was gonna do that too.
The 6th?
After the Concom meeting?
No, before the Concom meeting.
Oh, so 5 then.
Well, you want to do it, like you said, it's going to get dark, so anytime on the
Yeah.
6th would be helpful for then the Concom to discuss it also.
I have a right to live on the 6th, but that's okay.
The 5th is actually the Concom.
I mean, I'm sorry, yeah, that Monday, whatever that is, the 5th, yeah.
Monday the 5th.
So we're still talking the 6th for a site visit.
Well, I would propose the 5th if we could, that way the Concom sees it and then gets to talk
Okay.
about it, that would be really helpful.
And that's on a Monday, you said?
Yeah.
And they meet at 4.
We need it for, yeah.
4 o'clock?
So anytime before 4 is
Oh, before 4, yeah. And you can't make it on Monday?
I can make it as long as it's not 11:30.
Because I might not be able to make it on that Monday and you'll have to run it.
That's fine.
That's okay? Okay, you can't make it on Monday either. We're talking about the 5th, yeah, including the 5th. Let's set it to the 5th anyway,
The only other
unless
day
there's a
would
better
be,
day.
the only other day would be for COMCOM to be able to have it for their meeting, it'd be the 2nd. Friday the 2nd, that'd be the other one.
That's-
It's gotta be the 2nd or the 5th to fix for
Probably
the
not.
Conservation Committee.
Kind of runs with the New Year's and then people might be here or there or whatever.
Well, stop drinking.
Keep it on the 5th. Can't.
I just throw it out there, 5th is fine for me as long as it's done like
Okay.
1 o'clock or
Is
after.
the 5th okay for everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know a few of us may not be able to make it, but the 5th. So who made that motion? Victoria?
Yes, I did.
Victoria?
But what time did I move?
1, 2 o'clock,
2 p.m.
2 p.m.?
2 p.m.? Perfect.
Okay.
Yes, that's
The
my
5th at 2
motion.
p.m., okay.
Yeah.
I will not be attending.
Okay, is there a second on that?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Michael. Is there any further discussion? Then all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay, so that's tentatively set up for a site visit on January 5th, 2 p.m. Brings us to our second piece of work here, which is Planning Board 25-018. That's a site plan review application. Fieldstone Land Consultants have submitted a site plan review application on behalf of Paul Thomas for an accessory storage structure measuring 5,000 square feet. The property is located at tax map 171 and 173 in the business district. And let's have a look at that. for completeness. Okay, anytime you're ready.
Thank you. Again, for the record, John Noonan, Fieldstone Land Consultants, here on behalf of Paul Thomas, applicant and landowner. So to walk through the checklist on the site plan, we have name and address of owner, lower right-hand corner, tax map and lot number. Same on the title block, north arrow written graphic scale. Name and address of plat preparer, Fieldstone, lower right-hand corner. Vicinity sketch, upper right-hand corner. Names and addresses of all abutting landowners. So again, they're shown on the here with our correlating to our existing conditions mapping. I'll have all landowners by lot. Physical features and uses of land within 200 feet of the site. So the proposed site plan shows everything within 200 feet of the site, and also the existing conditions that shows everything also with the piece to the north. Perimeter boundary lines and the lot area in square feet and acres. We have lot, we have square feet, acres here. And number one. The shape, size, height, location, and use of existing structures on the site and those that are proposed. So we have the proposed existing garage, outbuildings, we have sheds here, canopy, so those are shown on the site here. Location, name, widths of any existing and proposed roads on the property. So there are no proposed or existing roads on the property. There's a curb cut to the south here, curb cut here, and it's bordered by Arrow Crest, New Hampshire Route 12 and Marcy Hill Road to the south. Identification of access from the site to the public street, site distances from the access points, curb cuts and proposed changes, if any, to the streets. So there's no changes to the streets. There's an existing curb cut on Marcy Hill, an existing curb cut on Arrow Crest. Location and number of parking and loading spaces. Again, this site doesn't have dedicated parking spaces. The existing garage, which will be converted into a residential use, they'll be parking at the house. It's all gravel, so there's no dedicated parking space. Landscape plan. So there was no proposed landscaping on this plan. Location, type, and nature of all existing and proposed lighting. So we have a separate lighting plan called out as on UT1, which has the utilities lighting. Flip to that page. Natural features such as water bodies, ledge, outcropping, and wetlands. Just want to show the lighting plan here before we keep going up. Proposed lighting, utilities, and landscaping. Natural feature of water bodies, ledge outcropping, wetlands. So we show the wetlands. There's a substantial amount on the property and also on the proposed lots per the subdivision plan. Existing and proposed grades and topographic contours. So that's shown on the grading plan and our existing conditions plan, GR1. So existing contours, again, pretty flat site, so it's 2-foot contours instead of 5-foot, so those dash lines. And then the proposed grades shown here for proposed contours and spot grades. Very minimal amount of grading on being proposed. The size and accurate location of all existing and proposed water mains, culverts, fire hydrants, and fire ponds. Again, there's no fire hydrants or fire ponds, but there is culverts shown on the plan on the extents, there's nothing in the proposed area of culverts and no fire ponds. Means of providing a water supply, so there's an existing well that's shown on the existing condition plan and the utility plan as we've just seen, so it has a 75-foot well radius. And in converting to the house, there's a proposed well here with a 75-foot radius. Surface drainage pattern, so back on the grading plan, it points out which direction it flows. Copy of certificate by a licensed septic designer that the existing system is sufficient for existing and proposed use. That was reviewed actually today with the town, and that it's a 3-bedroom existing system. The proposed is a 3-bedroom use, so there is no change to the septic system. Location of existing and proposed on-site well showing the 75-foot radius, so in the water supply, it's shown right here. Soil survey data from Cheshire County Soil Survey. That's back on the site plan and the existing conditions plan, show our soil lines. In the lower left-hand corner. Location of any existing and proposed easements, deed restrictions, and/or covenants. That's outlined, and then also on the subdivision plan showing the changes of lot lines. And then architectural plans. So we submitted a rendering of what the building would be. We understand we have to get, that was one of the staff comments, so we're gonna provide more architectural detail for the next meeting.
Okay.
We just submitted a rendering.
All right. So, is the application complete enough to go forward to a public hearing? That is the question before us.
I'll make a motion, the application is complete.
I'll second.
Motion by Mark that the application is complete and to proceed to public hearing, seconded by Brandon. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, we're moving right on to public hearing. I will open up the public hearing and make a brief presentation, if you will.
Yeah. So as part of the subdivision, making the 3 lots, there's going to be an expanded use proposing for a 5,000 square foot storage building. So this would be a metal panel, prefabricated kit type building. So that's shown here. We're proposing 3 parking spaces to the side, 2 in the back. Basically the renovation and addition on the existing home, so there's 276 square foot addition. The storage and sheds that are along this area here are to remain, and ultimately the use is going to be for storage and keeping of equipment and maintenance items for the business, which will be across the road, also owned by Paul Thomas. So we've submitted lighting. There is no landscaping proposed because of the amount of trees that are around. And then stormwater runoff is again just an infiltration trench behind the building and the 3 parking spaces that are proposed here. I'd like to open up the questions.
This is going to be just a maintenance building?
Yeah, it's an accessory use to the house, but it's ultimately just 3 garage space.
Okay, is it just stuff going to be stored in there, or is there going to be actual work on machines and stuff?
It's just storage as far as I can, maybe Paul can elaborate on that, but
So it's
accessory to the house use.
generally storage. I'm just wondering, you know, your business is run off of that property we just looked at, correct? That's the business property. And this property here is not a business, is it? 220, 173? That we're looking at there?
This is not, it's not a business, no.
It looks like a residential, and you're putting up
Yeah,
a...
and it's being converted into residential use with the accessory use of the garage.
Okay, it has been business in the past then?
It has.
Okay, my question
This is
was
being
that.
converted to residential.
Because if it wasn't business, it's not purview of this board to go by. You need a building permit for that proposed storage unit. if it was residential. If it's business, then yeah, it comes before the planning board for site plan. But it's business, then we'll leave it at that. Okay.
So it has been a business? I mean,
If it's not a business, it shouldn't be here.
so I guess what I'm wondering is, do we have because it is a business, do we have a site plan already on file that shows all the different things that are shown here?
No, I don't believe there's a site plan
Okay,
for the site at all.
so the file is silent on that. So we would be creating a whole new site plan at this point for this business.
Is it gonna be used as a business? Or is it gonna be used as a residential storage there? If it's residential storage, then it doesn't come before the planning board. If it's business, it does.
Paul, do you want to answer how that garage would be used? I mean, it's accessory to the house and your business.
Yeah, well,
To both
that's what I'm
business.
asking here, you know, if it's one way, then you don't need the site plan, you go to the building inspector and get your building permit to make your addition to the house and your garage there, and not to the planning board. So,
If it's both.
Says from storage and maintenance on the page.
That's why my question was.
yeah, but, you know, it depends what the use is as to how we proceed with this. If it's residential, then we probably shouldn't be proceeding with it because we have no authority over residential use, just business use.
The question is that building going to be used for the business that you have, or is it going to be for the resident store?
Correct me, it'll be for both. Ultimately, he's looking to use it for storage for the Twinkle Town business use across the way for maintenance and that stuff. But he'll also keep items there for the residential use that's on site if needed. He's pulled a building permit for the conversion of the building to residential. So that's underway, but not for the building permit.
Is that the used car building right there? Do you sell used cars out of there?
That's this one up here.
That would be over
Oh, okay.
out towards here.
Okay, I'm thinking of a different property now.
Yeah, it's behind that lot back.
I can probably clear this up really fast. It doesn't, he's gonna have to have a detailed plan for the conditional use permit anyway. And so I think he's gonna be in better shape if he goes forward with this, because he's gonna need to submit a detailed plan.
That's a good point.
For the conditional use permit.
Yeah, so we keep it as it is and we'll proceed this way then.
I think it's just gonna make it all this.
Okay. Good point there. Anybody else want to comment on that? No? Would you explain note 12?
On site plan?
Yeah.
Parcel 220, 171, subject to the conditions stated in reference plan number 3, that the property is to be reserved as permanent green space. Subdivision. PW Stone and Son, Mark Highway, Mark Road.
I'm just asking, it didn't make any sense to me when I reviewed the plans, so if you want more time to figure that one out, you can
I don't
figure it
have
out.
an answer for that, 'cause I'm
Okay,
not sure why it
then-
doesn't correlate on the other sheet.
Because we're gonna continue this anyway,
Yes.
so it'll give you a chance to research that.
It is not on the subdivision or the reference.
Yeah, I didn't
note
see it on any of the other ones either.
that
I only
doesn't
saw it
correlate
there.
to it, so.
Okay, I only saw it there, so yeah, check it out.
I had a question about note 8 as well, the location of the stratified drift aquifer. I think we're going to want to know where that is.
Okay.
So, if there are no more, question, yeah, question?
One more quick. Off of Marcy Hill, currently there's access into that area.
Correct.
Is that going to be terminated?
No, but that will become part of this lot, whereas now it's currently crossing the other lot without an easement.
So it's going to become a drive-through from
There'll
Marcy to...
be both access points that exist now on Arrowcrest and Marcy Hill will remain. However, now it will be 100% on this lot, not on the other lot.
Anybody else?
Well, just in practice, I'm back on the site plan idea, okay, so there's a new building that's being proposed, there's some existing stuff that's here, but really, we're looking at this as a whole new site plan that we've never seen before, right?
We are.
So we need to be looking at all aspects of it in addition to this building, when we review it, okay.
Yeah, and we're gonna be a site walk on that.
And we'll do that.
We're coming
Yep.
up after we
Yep.
do the,
And then I had another question, the well radius, the 75-foot well radius, not, just, this is a general question.
Okay, sure.
What can be constructed within that 75-foot well radius?
So there's no restriction on a residential use of the well. What it is a setback for your septic system. You have to be
Okay.
75 feet away from your septic system.
So it's okay to put a parking area within that radius?
Yes.
Okay.
anybody else? Then a motion to continue this into our January 8th meeting would be in order.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Brandon to continue this to our January 8th meeting, seconded by Richard. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, now let's bring up a site walk. We're gonna do a site walk at the parcel right across the street there.
So we're going to do it at the same time.
Shall we continue at the same date? I mean, have that site walk the same date?
Make a motion, we sidewalk is January 5th at 2 p.m.
At 2 p.m.
or 2:30, whatever.
Okay, second. We have a motion for a site walk at January 5th at 2 p.m. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Richard, second by Mark. Is there any further discussion? All those,
So I just want to ask, I did step away. What was the reasons that we weren't having a site walk prior to January 5th? Was there anything they couldn't, nobody?
So
No,
Conservation Commission can have.
Yeah, I understand why
we
it's,
just picked that date because I think the other date was like the 2nd, which was kind of
Right.
close to New Year's.
right.
And people be hungover walking on there, someone might get hurt.
Now I
So-
have my calendar in front of me, but, you know, about
That-
before,
We arrived at the 5th for that.
about before New Year's
Yep.
or something.
We've already done the other one,
I
so
understand.
let's keep this one the same date,
Yeah,
the 5th.
because you just go from one to the other,
Yeah.
it'll be done and clean.
Okay, again, it's a motion by Richard, seconded by Brandon, was it, or vice versa?
Me.
Seconded by Mark, sorry. Seconded by Mark. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay, site walk on the 5th. 2 p.m. All righty, and we'll see you probably at the site walk, maybe?
Yep.
Okay,
Excellent, thank you.
great, thanks.
Okay, perfect. By all, or-
Okay, that brings us to other business, which is to approve the schedule for 2026. This is the same schedule we saw last week, I think, isn't it?
So
Isn't it identical?
second.
Was there something wrong with the other one?
No, I just,
No.
just wanted to have us look at it twice.
Oh, okay, yeah, so,
I made a point, but he had it in there.
yeah, you did, I thought you had it. Yeah. So you made the motion, Richard?
Yes.
Okay, Richard made a motion to,
And I seconded it.
and you second, okay. Richard made the motion to, I guess, accept or approve, let me see, yeah, approve, he had approve on there, so we'll use the word approve. A motion by Richard to approve the schedule for 2026 about meeting dates and application dates, and that was seconded by Brandon. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Good, that's official. Anything else for the good of the order?
Just two quick things.
Oh, we're out of time.
That's enough.
No, just very quick. The CIPC and the Governance Committee has given their recommendations to the Select Board. I have copies of both. If anybody wants to call me up, meet me and discuss them. I don't want to discuss them here now because we'll be here till midnight or more.
Thank you. Okay,
I haven't eaten supper either.
anything else? Then a motion to adjourn would be in order.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Mark, seconded by Brandon. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye.
By the way,